I always had the feeling like I was going to be an entrepreneur. There were definitely things that I noticed in myself in terms of identification of business trends, competitiveness, ambition. I always felt that whether I knew it or not, that I was going to be an entrepreneur, and it was in my DNA. In my business, you need a lot of drive. You need to be motivated at all times. When you're not, the competition gets closer. In terms of, drive and where that comes from, it's a number of factors. It's very much like sport. I obviously work in hockey, and from a business standpoint, it is very much like a sport in the sense you want to be the best. You see competitors all around you, and it acts as a fuel, just like any other athlete. On a daily basis, in terms of role models, they're my competition. I look up to them. They've been around for close to 20 to 30 years longer than I have. I understand why they were successful. I study why they were successful, and I study the market as it is now, so I can plan accordingly in terms of my success. A lifelong role model was my grandfather. He's a World War II veteran. Started a car dealership himself, and was an entrepreneur himself. When things get tough, I think about the late nights or the tough days that he would have had to go through, and that gives me a lot of strength. If there were a few ththings that I could do differently, I think I would be much more aggressive in terms of my competition. Thankfully, in the last 8 years, I've really, I feel like I have a very good understanding of what my strengths are and what their weaknesses are. The most valuable lesson I've learned in my entrepreneurial experience would have to be that it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. No matter who tells you it's a sprint, it is not a sprint. You'll have investors, you'll have, whether that's VCs or angel investors, telling you it's a sprint. It's not. When you make your plans, it's quality over quantity. I would say also to not get discouraged, to understand when you failed, and then be smart enough and reasonable enough to think about that and create alternative measures to have success. Be creative.